Welcome to our final SL21B Town Hall event. Already this week, we've heard from the product, engineering, and product operations teams, and even Second Life founder Philip Rosedale. Before we get started with today's town hall, we do want to remind you that on Monday, we have a special community roundtable event with Linden Lab Executive Chairman Oberwolf Linden and Senior Vice President of Product Operations and Marketing, Patch Linden. We hope you'll be able to join us for that special event, but please note that it does start a bit earlier at 11:30 a.m. SLT. Now, on with the town hall. Today, we are excited to introduce and chat with our many talented moles. For those who may not be familiar with moles, these are the individuals who work closely with Linden Lab as part of the Linden Department of Public Works. You have seen their work across the grid on many public builds, including many of the Linden builds that were done here for SL21B. If you've ever played Linden Realms, enjoyed a Linden home, or visited Belisaria, then you've seen the work of the moles in action. But that really is just the tip of the iceberg, or should I say molehill, of their contributions. To get started, let's do a round of introductions. To my immediate right is Patch Linden, Senior Vice President of Product Operations and Marketing. I am also surrounded in the front row by Bree Mole, Dreaming, Spiffy, Abner, and Alada. These are the moles that have been elected, volunteered, to talk today. And I am going to now ask each one of them to introduce themselves, tell you how long they've been a mole, and ask what area they concentrate on with the work that they do as a mole. Bree, let's start with you.
Hi everyone, I am Brigantia Mole, but most call me Bree because Brigantia is far too complicated. I have had the good fortune of being a mole for just over a year, and on the team I have responsibilities for content creation, things like the birthday cake hats for this year and last year's Second Life birthday. I also have responsibilities to help make sure covenants in various regions are followed in order to maintain a neighborly environment. All in all, my goal as a mole is to make Second Life a more enjoyable place for everybody involved. With respect to background, I currently live in New York State, and I was introduced to Second Life by a New York City Broadway producer who owned the original Broadway regions in Second Life. We had met at a conference, and he and his partner shared their enthusiasm, and so I decided to check it out. I've even convinced my firm at that point to use the platform to conduct interviews back in the day. Eventually, I started building a few things on my own, and one thing led to another. And here I am, just as enthusiastic about Second Life as ever, and looking forward to the advances coming down the pipeline.
All right, thank you so much, Bree. What advances are you most excited about? Can you tell us, or?
Well, I can tell you one for sure, and I know that there's some mixed opinions at the moment about PBR, and I confess I was one of those who had mixed opinions because it's taken me some time to learn how to properly create in that environment. But when I see what's possible, when I see how much better things are when that is implemented well and when everybody can enjoy those benefits, I get really excited about the new visual impact that we can have in Second Life. So that's one example.
I agree with you 100%. I've been hearing about, like all the rest of the moles and the community in general, PBR for a long time, and I'm not a creator, so I didn't really know what I didn't understand what it was going to do. And now that I've seen it in action, it It really is amazing the additional reality it gives to things. So I'm excited to see that play out across the grid as well. All right, dreaming. Let's hear about you.
Yes, I'm Dreamy Mo. I have been a Mo for almost 3 years. I am a content creator as well. I create a lot of the big buildings, like for instance the welcome area here at SL21B, and the fantasy homes, and other a lot of things. I cannot even list them right now. It's a lot of work. Um, I am what I like to call a tropical Mo. I am from Brazil, so it's really really amazing to be part of this team.
It's exciting. I think about Second Life being comprised of a global community. And when I think about it, we have a global community of moles as well, because I know that we have people on at least 3 continents, possibly 4. So I think that's pretty amazing.
It is. I think it's one of the most amazing things of Second Life, being able to meet all these people we wouldn't if it wasn't for this.
Absolutely. And then not only meeting people, but being able to collaborate with them, and uh, uh, what spins out of that is just amazing. And you can see that all across the birthday
Yeah.
because people in their communities, of course, have come together and they've created these amazing exhibits. And a lot of times they are coordinating, trying to do these builds from very different time zones around the world.
Exactly. And also here, us as a team, this is one of the most amazing things of LDPW, how we all collaborate together and build amazing things.
Absolutely. Thank you. Spiffy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Missy. Okay, I'm Spiffy and I'm a content creator, and I've been a mall for 5 years with a little break in between. And my focus is mesh clothing assets. I know that it's hard to imagine from my accent, but like, guess what? I'm not American.
I never would have guessed.
I know, I fool everybody. Well, I'm from Italy, and working as a mole, it's been like an extremely enriching experience because the work that we do and the opportunities that we have are very, very unique, especially in the design field. We got the opportunity to work with an amazing team with amazing coordination that allow us to be really creative and to understand, mm, all the different, way that people even interact with each other because we are a very diverse group. I bring my experience, and other people like Dreaming and Bree bring their experience, with their own, cultural and unique point of view. And it's just a very unique and blessed experience.
I agree with you on that, Spiffy. That's been my experience as well, not just with the moles, but also with working with exhibitors and performers with Second Life Birthday, and then the merchants when I do the shop and hops, because we're working with people from all over the world, and they do bring so much to the table from their own backgrounds. Really feel very fortunate to have that experience.
Yeah, it's incredible, and it's 21 years that Second Life allow us to do that, to know a lot about the world, just like in such an easy way. I mean, there's nothing else like this, is there?
Really nothing. There are some things that have attempted to come close, but nothing quite is at that same level. And I think everybody here probably agrees with that.
Yeah, nothing beats Second Life.
Abner, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Oh, well, I am Abner Mole. I am from the U.S. I am not from Australia, although that seems to be the rumor. Um, I don't know. I was raised by dingoes, so maybe that had something to do with it. Now, I've been a mole since June 25th of 2008, which is 16 years. So yeah, a long time. I primarily, I mean, I've worked on things, Mainland roads back in the day, and all sorts of our games, Paleo Quest and Linden Realms, and all of those over the years. Lately, but I've been working on building out the Belisaria continent and working on the Welcome Hub, which opened about a year ago.
Well, I have so many things that I could say. The first thing that comes to mind is one, I think you probably do an excellent Australian accent. So I think you probably could fool us all if you wanted to. But
I could try, but I think I would all the Australian residents would be very upset. So I'm not going to try.
But since, I mean, we have the gamut here. We have Bree, who's just about a year old, and we have you, who's been a mole for 16 years. And if you're not the oldest mole here, you're definitely in like the top 3.
I think I actually am. The top 3 I think would be myself, Naughty, and Garden, who's right there behind us.
You are the grandparents of all us moles.
Yeah, you whippersnappers coming around. Yeah.
All right, and last but not least, Alada, please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Alada Mole. I've been working here for 6 years. I'm from South America. I'm part of the tropical mole situation too. and working here, I have different paths when it comes to the mole. But right now, I'm in the quality assurance section in QA, and in the marketing part for some of the pictures that we do from the mole side. Yeah.
Well, I know that you take most of the marketing pictures that relate to things that the moles are involved in, and you do an absolutely phenomenal job with those. And I was just curious. I mean, I know that there are certain things that you need to do, but how do you get your inspiration for the setups? Because it's not easy always. I mean, it's one thing to be told to go take a picture of a house, okay, but you do a lot of action pictures as well. And so where do your ideas come from?
Yeah, that's actually interesting because the thing is this, I have to switch modes constantly, right? Because there are some pictures that are just product pictures. There are other pictures that are more artistic pictures. So I have to switch constantly and think of my limitations. I think part of what I like about it is that because there are some pictures that give me more freedom. Like there are pictures that I can do for certain events that I don't have to follow so many guidelines or rules about what I can either show or how should I show certain things. And on that, I just let my creativity flow. And I think the part that I'm so limited sometimes because of parameters, commercially speaking, that in that I can go crazy and just like put so many things. So I think it helps on that matter. Part of the inspiration is also, I think when you work in a team like this, creativity feeds from other people. So sometimes like hearing people's ideas, hearing people approaches to certain stuff, or you go to a place, for example, with the Linden homes, you see like what people envision with certain things, what Patch envisioned too. Grabbing all of that and make my own vision out of it, it helps. So is like one thing feeds the other one, and then you just let loose and do stuff. So but it is a balance of things, because then it's also hard to keep in mind is that it's also there's rules to follow, because you need to show things the correct way, because this is going out for all of you guys out there, and you want to give a faithful representation of things. So yeah, it's just, you have to juggle things.
Yes, and you do a fabulous job juggling? I know you wear a lot of different hats between marketing and pictures and QA and the other various projects that you end up getting pulled into. All right, I do have a question. It looks like that came directly for Bree based on something that she said. So I want to go ahead and just ask that since it came up. Bree, Philip Nagy asked, and it's open to anybody else who wants to, but it's specifically pointed at Bree. For those of us creators still lagging behind in learning setting up PBR materials, are there any resources you've found to be helpful that could be shared in learning the transition from ALM materials with specular maps to the metal roughness maps for PBR?
That's really a great question. And I think initially I was kind of nervous about it because when you don't know what you don't know, you don't even know where to turn to. So I can completely relate to the question. What I've been doing, frankly, is turning to YouTube and looking for specific tutorials based on the material that I was trying to create. Most recently, for instance, I've been working on some materials that are basically drinking glasses, and glass is its own specialty in PBR. And so I've reviewed literally hours of videos to get a process that works well for what I wanted to do. And now that I've done that, I've created my own sort of notes and cheat sheet. So the best advice I could have is to say, search YouTube, but not just for general PBR tutorials, but search YouTube for something specific, like how to make glass or how to make awesome metals or something specific. And if you do that, then I think you can probably find some great tutorials.
I have found that that is a much easier way to find tutorials on anything if you have a specific goal in mind. It's very difficult, even creating. Like I have attempted to learn Blender numerous times. I've made so many donuts and so many hats that, I have a closet full. But it's when I actually came up with something specific that I wanted to do, like I made a pair of wings, and I was able to get tutorials specifically on making curves in Blender, which was really helpful. All right. I always find it very interesting to know how people got involved in Second Life in the first place. And I think it is especially interesting with moles because moles have two layers of Second Life existence. They have their initial introduction to Second Life as residents. Obviously, you came in and you loved what you saw and you stayed, and then after a period of time you became moles. So this next question, it's two parts really. I'd love to know how you got involved with Second Life in the first place, what attracted you to it, what kept you here, and then tell us how you became a mole. What is your mole origin story? And we'll start with a lot of this time.
Oh, okay. Recapitulate. So it's like, well, I mean, how I became a mole, it was because Patch actually found me. Like, I met Patch, and he liked my work. I had all my pictures and all my work when it came related to that exposed, and he was interested. He offered me an interview to see if I will be fitting for the place. And then it happened. So yeah, I started mostly with the pictures parts and then became a bigger role later. But yeah.
How did you get interested in Second Life in the first place?
With Second Life, it's actually because from where I come, the limitations were so big and my country was living in such a hard moment in many ways, economically and politically speaking, that Second Life became like my distraction. Second Life became a place that it was mostly my only place to be creative and my only place to feel like I had some kind of freedom. Like, even though I couldn't buy things like by buying Linden blood dollars and and just buy everything I wanted. I had to work in Second Life since day number one, but it's still like that. I felt so much freedom because anything I could think, I could make it a reality, and I could do anything when it came creatively wise. And I was feeling so much joy with that it automatically became my favorite place.
And did you ever think that you would become a mole? I mean, was it an aspiration, or you were just following a passion and Patch found you and then the magic happened?
Oh yeah, no, I never thought of any of that. In fact, I met Patch by pure coincidental mistake, right? So it's like it wasn't even anything that was like, oh, I was looking for it. Like, no, nothing of that. Like, honestly, it was just a casual thing. It just happened. And a lot of people did say it from the past friends and stuff. They were like, oh, the day you meet the Linden, it will happen. You will see. And in all of this, I was like, that's just crazy talk. That's not going to happen because that's just such a crazy idea. And it did happen like that, which is crazy, you know. But no, I was never part of the plan. I never thought. In fact, I thought they were going to say no to me in the interview. They would be like, "Oh no, thank you so much, get out of here." And like, I'm not a very positive person apparently, but yeah.
Which is funny because you're one of the most positive people I think I've ever met. You are a cheerleader for people.
I try. I think it's good to be like that when I come into a group thing. You know, like I think you need to bring the enthusiasm because it's not easy. Teamwork is beautiful, but at the same time, it's not easy. So yeah, you try. But personally speaking, I'm kind of like, it's not going to happen. Like it's not.
Yes, don't get your hopes up, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're very lucky to have you, and we actually both became moles within about a week of one another. I'm 6 years as a mole as well, and we both came on in June of 2018, I think it was.
Yeah, we all came in the middle of SLB.
Yep, me and you and Squeaky. Abner, how did you get involved in Second Life in the first place, and then how did you become a mole?
Oh, well, let me think. Well, that was a lot of years ago. I used to listen to podcasts, and you had the I think it was a Leo Laporte podcast, and he was going on about Second Life and how he tried it and how great it was. And so I'm like, okay, I'll try that. And so I came in and I was like, okay, this is interesting, and flying around and doing the things, and then I found out that, oh, I could build things here. I can like res things out and put them together and link them together and make creations. I was like, this is great. That just it filled a niche in or niche in things that I enjoyed doing. You know, it was like a big sandbox where you can play and make things, and that just appealed to me. As far as like becoming a mole, I mean, it was right when the LDPW started. I was making things. I got to know a few people. I knew somebody who had their own island at the time, and I became an estate manager, and I started building things for his island, and then they announced that, they were starting the LDPW, and I think like the second or third round, I put in my application, and lo and behold, here I am, 16 years later.
Still going strong.
Yep.
Spiffy, how about you? How did you find SL, and how did you become a mole?
Well, I discovered Second Life because I was looking for a place where I could socialize in a sort of a safe environment. So Second Life did that for me. And I was able to meet people from all over the world and get like even a little bit more confident in interacting with people. Then like it was just like a slow build, because then I discovered like I could take pictures and I could edit them, make animations, even items. At that point, I was so deeply in love with the platform that I'm still here I'm never gonna leave. I love it. And I became a mole because I applied. I went on the wiki page of the Linden Department of Public Works. I followed all the instructions, and here I am.
Well, we have quite a variety of ways that people have become moles, but I like that you just went to the wiki page and were like, okay, here are the instructions. This is how I do it.
Yeah, I wanted it. I really wanted it. So I put together my resume and I went for it.
We're lucky to have you. Patch, I think that this question applies to you too. I would love to know how you found Second Life in the first place.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Oh. Well, it's actually kind of similar to Admiral. I was listening to a radio talk show host here that was based out of Atlanta on an AM radio station of all things way back then, right? While I was driving into to work, and the radio talk show host, I won't name him because it might be a little polarizing. But they were talking about Second Life, and I was like, well, this kind of sounds cool. And at that time, in my life, I was a pretty heavy MMORPGer. I was playing a lot of Star Wars Galaxies at that point in time, and I absolutely loved the game. So I was a huge fan of kind of open world sandboxes, which is a lot of what SWG was all about. And so I came in and tried it out, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. This kind of has all of that and then more, right? And I can, build houses and content and do all sorts of stuff. And, from there on forward, it was kind of a match made in heaven.
Well, see, I love hearing stories like that. Everybody has their own story about how they found Second Life and what made them stay here. And I think that that explains a lot about this community and why it is so connected and strong and why it has been here for 21 years. It's the passion. I mean, I have two more people that I want to talk to, and I really don't think I'm going to be disappointed. There's passion from all of you about this platform. So it's very exciting. Dreaming, how did you find Second Life and how did you become a mole?
Well, I want to answer this, but I want to ask you, how did you find Second Life?
I was actually working on a PhD program in education, and someone was 2006, so there were all the articles about Second Life, and someone pointed it out to me and thought that it would maybe be something that I was interested in because I was very interested in instructional technology and the ways that education could be used, especially for young people who are exploring their identities and looking for places to connect that were safe. And so that's how I got into Second Life. And once I got here, I didn't end up doing my research at all. I ended up getting various jobs and meeting people and starting to create, and things just kind of exploded from there. But that's what originally brought me here, was the idea that of identity development and exploration.
That's amazing. And then you became a mole.
And then just, happened so I became a mole.
Yeah, well, in my case, I first got to know Second Life in 2008 during a coffee break at my work. I had like a normal work. I'm a trained architect, so I was in a coffee break. And because I had a very busy life, I didn't really stay. But then after 10 years, the world stopped, and we all know what happened. I lost all my work, and I remembered Second Life. And it's pretty interesting because I found myself here. I can explore my creativity in a way that it is impossible to do anywhere else. I can build, I can experience places, I can walk around, I meet people. So that's what like captivated me the most. So I stayed. I could have gone back to being an architect, but I'm here because I really found myself here. And one day I was looking at this Meet the Moles, and I saw that the moles existed, and I thought to myself, why not apply? And then I went to the wiki page and I applied, and here I am building all the stuff.
And you really have become a part of SLB because you have done the welcome area twice this year and last year. And you also are the curator of our community gallery that we have.
Yeah. Yeah. So the welcome areas. Oh, I mean, it's one of the best experiences being able to put some of my knowledge here and create spaces for people to really feel welcome when they arrive here. I know that we have all these different LODs, computers, but I try to make sure that everybody will have a very good virtual experience when I'm creating a space. And of course, I need to mention that I don't do it on my own. Of course, we have the other moles who are the decorators, we have the scripters, we have people who do effects, sounds. So we all together, of course, it's because of everybody together that I am able to be part of this. And about the community gallery, yes, near the welcome area, I am putting out some of the images that people are dropping in the mailbox. And I encourage everyone to go there and show us some of your pictures. I think that it's really, really beautiful to see how everybody sees Second Life. And well, I've seen some pretty beautiful pictures like weddings, people having fun in SL21B here, in the parties, in the stages. Yeah, I guess I need to stop talking because I really love it.
Well, I love looking at the community gallery and seeing all the pictures that people drop in about what they have been doing in the past year or even in the past several days at SL21B, what they've been experiencing with the exhibits, the parties that they've been having at the different stages, even the stuff that they've been picking up at the shop and hop. So yes, if you haven't been over to the welcome area and seen the community gallery as well, definitely you should go over to, is it SLB Magnificent? I think it is SLB Magnificent, and take a look at,
And share your pictures.
yes, there are mailboxes you can drop your pictures in. And finally, Bree, how did you find Second Life and how did you become a mole 1 year ago?
So I've spoken a little bit earlier about it was a Broadway producer who introduced me to Second Life, and I came in actually with corporate aspirations. I was working for a large international consulting firm, and I had aspirations of getting the firm very involved with it. We tried a few things, but the firm decided it wasn't really the right place for them. I, on the other hand, was hooked. And I was hooked both from the aspect of creating things, being able to explore my own creativity. And then I also stumbled across not only dance troupes with the original first Second Life ballet troupe, but also the role play community. So I've been involved in everything from dance to role play to creating. And it's just allowed me to evolve a lot of those things and ideas that I've had inside. And it just gave me this marvelous playground. So that's why I've been here. As far as how I became a mole, Missy, you may not know this, but the truth is I kept bumping into you through Shop and Hop and Fantasy Fair. and I became curious about what you did and about the role of the mole. Sorry, I know that's rhyming again. So I looked up the details on the wiki, just like Dreaming and Spiffy. I filled out the application. Derek replied saying there were no current openings, but about 3 months later, he contacted me and brought me into an interview with Derek and Squeaky and Kronos. And lo and behold, I was lucky enough to be offered the role, and I've been learning and having a blast ever since.
Well, I know that you came on last year right around the time Squeaky and I were looking for content creators for SL20B, and you're like a godsend because everything that we came up with, you were able to make in like a day and a half.
Well, you guys gave me really fun things to work on, and it was a blast, and I loved it. So I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be continuing to learn new things, and to have new challenges thrown my way. So that I think is part of what makes it a rewarding experience. That plus the teamwork and the support that's there. It's truly one of the best teams I've ever gotten to work on. And trust me, at my age, I've worked on a lot of teams.
Well, we don't talk about age. Age is only a number as far as I'm concerned. We're only as old as we think we are, or
Oh,
maybe
that's
we're
okay.
only.
I'm proud of my years. I don't mind. Let's just say I have a few of them behind me now.
All right. Well, we have been collecting questions from the community for there were several days that we were collecting questions, and I am going to jump into some of those now. Given that this year's SL21B theme is elements, we're going to start with water, sky, and land questions. First, Abner, water. We've received many questions about future features, such as from Kuvanishi asking, is there any chance that we can get system water or Linden water on a prim one day? Do you know anything about that?
I well, it, you kind of can now. The problem with Linden water is it is so unique compared to something you can put on a prim on a surface. I mean, both us and residents have both tried to make something that simulates Linden water, at least to some degree, that you can put on a prim, with varying levels of authenticity, I guess you could kind of say. Really, the ideal situation would be if there was some way that you could bring the level of water on your individual parcel and change it. Right now it's a region setting. If it was a parcel setting, that would solve a lot of those problems. Um, Now, is that something that we're doing? I don't know. it, it's not really a question for us. That's the problem. It's really a question for the engineering, because that would be something on the engineering side. In which case, if that's something that people are interested in, which they obviously are, because that's something that we've all, I think, wanted at some point, was be able to dig a hole in the terrain and be able to raise up the water level for a swimming pool or something, rather than having to have some sort of a false water. I would encourage them to go to the feedback portal and put that in there and see if they can get more residents to vote on it, because that's how you let the engineers know that these are the things that residents really want. And maybe they might say, okay, well, we'll take a look at this and see if this is something that we can potentially do in the future. But I have no idea if anything like that is in the works. But that would be where to go to find out.
All right. Well, we know that the engineering team does spend a lot of time looking at the feedback portal. They talked about it on Tuesday. So again, if there are features that you would like to see in the future, definitely go to the feedback.secondlife.com website and put those in there. Another question for you, Abner. We've received a lot of appreciation recently from residents regarding the connection of Linden homes to Sansara that made sailing from multiple mainland continents a reality. Are there additional plans to expand on this and make more mainland continental connections?
Well, we're always looking to find ways to connect continents in that way. And the reason that we did it at Blueberry Tarn was, we had already connected to the Sansara continent at the southern end of the continent. The difficulty there is the water level on the south side of Sansara is raised higher. So there's no real way that you can, sail a boat from Belisaria to Sansara without having to get out, port up the, go up the hill, and then re-res your boat out. And the closest connection was Blueberry Tarn, that where you wouldn't have to do that. So, we looked at it and we said, okay, is there a way we can get up there? And I knew we were having this theme of the ranch homes, so I proposed it to Patch and said, well, if there's enough interest in these homes, we could potentially get up to there and actually connect the waterways up there. And he thought that was a good idea, so that's what we did, and luckily it worked out that way. The bottom line is we're always looking for ways that we can make these sort of connections, but there's mitigating circumstances. We have to look at things like the cost of regions and is there an actual connection that we can make that is feasible. A lot of people have talked about road connections. Can we connect this road to that one? On another continent with a bridge, and it's like, well, if we have to do things like take land away from residents, that's a non-starter. And then we have to look at the road itself. Is it capable of does it make sense? And if the answer is no, then it's like, okay, well, I'll have to come up with some other situation there. So, we're always looking for those connections. It's just whether or not we can do it, and we can do it within the constraints and make it so it actually works. With Blueberry Tarn, we were able to do it. With another connection somewhere else, possibly not. It all just depends. But we are definitely always looking for those. There just may be reasons why we can't.
All right. Have one now for you, Patch. On to land. Heather Westbrook asks, there are several continents with unfinished sides to them, mainly Gaiatea 1, Zindra, and Sharp. Are there any plans to finish these so they don't just have a sudden drop-off?
Yeah, kind of like a little bit of what Abner just said too kind of relates to this in a way, and that is, we look at these like unfinished edges and we partially sometimes go, well, we like to maybe leave them like that for potential future expansion possibilities. We close them off. That kind of, implies that that's finished and that may never happen in the future. So we have to, kind of consider our choices and our options there at that point. And from there, it's a balancing act, of course, of all of the other work we have to do in order to actually get around to doing them. So, I'm not going to implicitly say, yeah, we're going to, or no, we're not going to. We're always kind of thinking about how we can, make coastlines and such prettier and better looking and things of that nature. And, with the things that I just recently talked about and announced, there may be other possibilities there that we're still kind of keeping an eye on for, future plans. So we'll see.
Okay. All right. And now that I have you in the hot seat, really, toll roads, what's up with that?
That was my attempt at humor and such. I think that there was a question about, well, could we build, roads that expand, across all of these regions and such, and I made some funny remarks about wouldn't it be great if we could just put in like toll roads and toll plazas and even automate the tolling systems and such. And my apologies if that didn't go over too well, but wouldn't it be funny?
I
I think it'd
think
be
it would be
hilarious.
great. I think it would be great, and especially if we then had automated cars, so you could just get in the car and it would just drive you around. Which I
Yes,
guess,
and then or you just drive your car around it and just circumnavigate it, or get on a boat, right, and just
yes,
go alongside. Yeah.
I think it was funny. But I do have another question about roads. Abner, Marianne McCain asked, she would like to know what is going on with the connection with a road from Bay City to the rest of the mainland. Is that progressing? And can you give any idea of where it might be?
It's going. So the answer is it progressing? Yeah. Can I give you an idea where it's going? No. Um, and there's reason for that. I don't want to get too much into the detail of how we're doing it or where we're going, because we don't know all the particulars yet. Building roads, especially in the mainland, where everything is historic in certain aspects, and there's lots of considerations. There's resident parcels all around through there. Uh, we don't exactly know exactly where it's going to be until we start building it, and because our plans might change. We may think, okay, we can try something like this, and then we go, okay, that really didn't work out the way we thought it was going to be. But if we do this, then that actually might work out. So our plans are they're a little fluid when we're doing these things, and they kind of have to be. So I can't really give particulars, and I really wouldn't want to either. Um, but just know that we do have a plan, and when we're able to do it, we will do it, and you will see it come to fruition over time.
All right, then we will look toward the future and see what happens. Now, it looks to me like there might be a special guest here in the radio booth, so to speak. Magellan, the name was tossed around that Magellan was here, and he was willing to talk about the future prospects of the Second Life Railroad. And will SLRR ever get an upgrade?
Well, he's kind of here. Those who don't know. And this is Abner. I do the voice of Magellan Linden in all them videos and things like that. So yeah, as far as the railroad goes, if you want to get your choo-choo out and go around the grid, you always can. I can't do that voice for that long. Will the SL Railroad ever get an upgrade? I don't know. I mean, the SL Railroad, in some aspects, it's pretty robust. I mean, it's fairly simple in how it works. I mean, there are guides along the railroad that anyone can script a train, and there are scripts out there for building your own, railroad train. Um, and some people have taken them to extra levels where they become railroad makers, and they create these trains, and some of them work better than others. So as far as it getting an upgrade, I think the basic infrastructure is there, and you just have to find ways to work within that infrastructure. Um, as far as like upgrading the railroad itself, I would be concerned that if we did make changes to the railroad itself, how it worked, all of those that content that people have already made will cease to function. So I would be a little bit worried about that. So I think in essence, is the railroad going to get an upgrade? We are improving things with the railroad. One of the things that is a little bit different is the Belisario Railroad has, and some people have noticed, it doesn't have as many switches as the railroad on the mainland. Um, And part of that is the switches there are a little bit different. I think Squeaky has been working on those, and one of the things that he's done is the switches work more like an actual real life railroad, where if if you have a shared train line, basically a single track, where you have trains that can go both north and south, for instance. The switch, if there is a train on that track, it will not let you go onto that track with a train going in the opposite direction until that train has passed. That's one of the things that they've worked into those. Those scripts are a little bit, they're a little bit buggy. They need some work on them. I believe. Last time I talked to Squeaky about it. And it's a matter of finding the time to get those done and get those into some of the switches and and things on the Belisaria Railway. For right now, I mean, if you come up against a siding on the Belisaria Railway, you just kind of have to grab your train and move it over in the way you want, and the scripts will pick up where it needs to go. But we do eventually want to have those all scripted the way that they are supposed to be, so that they work in the way that they're intended.
All right. Well, I know that I really enjoy riding on the a railroad system around Belisaria. It's exciting to be able to go through the many, many regions. And this leads into the next question that I have actually about Linden Homes. Abner, I know that you oversee the layout of Belisaria. How do you and the decor team manage to create thousands of regions that all feel unique and new, both across themes and within themes?
It's not easy. I will say that it is not easy. Um, we have various aspects to it. Uh, I mean, when we're building on a theme in Linden Homes, uh, we have a two-pronged approach. We have templates that we start out with for bringing up a lot of regions quickly if we need to, and then we also have other places where we're actually building live regions that are completely unique because they're all built from hand. Um, and it's I mean, when you look at Belisaria from on the map or from the sky, you can kind of see how there are. You may see like there's a couple regions that are the same, or maybe even identical, but they're spread apart, so they're not right next to each other usually. Um, but are so you're gonna have that aspect to it, and it's almost unavoidable. Uh, but what we strive to do is when you're on the ground, which is where you're going to be 99% of the time anyway, you don't feel like everything is the exact same cookie cutter. And when we build out the houses around with the decoration, we're always going for a equal but not identical. So every house feels unique. You know, your house doesn't feel exactly like the house across the street. You know, you have different plantings around it. You may have a different sort of a walkway up to your house, and then you customize it from there. Uh, I mean, the parcels themselves is where we would have a thing that we would say when we were doing the deco is like we're just making the frame, and it's up to the resident themselves to paint the picture inside of the frame. So we try to keep our decoration sort of light, but we do vary it up so that not every house is going to feel exactly the same. Um, and that's kind of the gist of how we do it. We're always looking from the aspect of from the resident's point of view within the parcel, and just trying to make it so that when you're wandering around Belisaria, and yeah, sometimes it can feel like you're in a maze, um, and that again too is almost unavoidable. You never feel like you're going past the exact same house, you know, every third house or something like that. I mean, you think back to the old cartoons, the old Hanna-Barbera cartoons, where you know Scooby-Doo and Shaggy would be running from the ghost, and you would see them going by, and you would see the same picture on the wall go by like every 3 seconds. That's what we wanted to avoid, and I think for the most part, we've done it as much as we can.
You've done a really fabulous job. I mean, just driving around or riding around in the train through Belisaria, you really get the feel that you're in this immense area that is very, very, very varied.
Yeah, and that's really by mixing in live built regions too, around the coastlines or down where a train line needs to go, because we can't use a template for that. We have to hand build those. It adds that variety and breaks up any sort of a pattern as much as we can. So it's there, but you don't feel like it's there when you're actually moving around. So your brain just kind of ignores that.
Patch, I have a question concerning Linden homes and updating them with PBR features that would show off the capabilities of PBR, as well as give people an example of how reflection probes should be set up in a variety of house configurations. Will Linden Labs be doing that, updating Linden homes? Will Linden homes get an update with PBR?
Yeah, it's a project we want to tackle. It's huge though. I think our approach is going to be initially, and again with the announcements just from the other day, we're obviously going to start with everything new will come with, right, and will be set up with that. It's certainly most efficient for us to say everything going forward will have it. Log homes being the theme that we're going to touch that's already in place, those homes that get added will have it. We will assess whether or not the current log homes that are already in the theme there can get updated as well within our timeline that we set out to kind of get that work done. But yes, eventually we do, and we'll have to touch every theme in every home to do it. It's just going to take a lot of time.
Okay. But still something to be looking forward to in the future. There's a lot of things on the horizon, and we'll be able to talk about them at SL22B and how they have come and been incredibly successful attribution to Second Life and the world that we live in. So that's exciting. This next question, Patch, will Second Life debut any new Linden Premium Home theme areas at the 21st birthday celebration this year?
Unfortunately, as much as I would love to, we don't have one ready. So that's, as I mentioned, we hadn't been working on anything in the, near recent past. We took a break and worked on other things, including SLB. And as I had mentioned, we had been doing work on the adult content and spicy related initiative project that is already underway. But yeah, no homes to debut this year at SL21B.
Stay tuned for SL22B. This is a question I'm going to ask all of you, and I'll start with Patch. What is your favorite Linden home theme? Do you have a favorite Linden home theme?
That's a good one. I like them all, obviously for their various unique attributes, but I actually do think I like the log homes the best. That may or may not have influenced my decision to pick on it. But really it is because it's one of the themes that has the least amount of floor plans and home types. But I think overall, the forestry work, the infrastructure work, the home styles themselves were amongst my most favorite. I also wanted to bring up a reminder or let folks know. I talked about themes and polls and community input. And I have started a thread under the Linden Homes Forum subsection, gathering an initial round of theme suggestions, ideas, input, even pictures would be helpful. Our intent is to gather as much theme input as we can and go as quickly and efficiently as possible. And then we're going to probably run kind of runoff style 2 polls. We'll do a poll of a really big list of themes all gathered together. And then we will do a runoff poll of, what we'll do is take, the top themes from that and get a finalist. And that will be one of the next themes. And then from there, I will decide, is that going to be a premium plus theme, or is that going to be the regular premium theme that will come with 512 and 1024 parcel mix? So I just wanted to throw that teaser and ask for help out there now.
So definitely there is going to be some community influence or participation on the possible next theme. So that's very exciting. Spiffy, do you have a favorite Linden home theme?
Well, I like all the things romantic. So my favorite one is the Victorian one. It's really beautiful and it's totally my favorite. I mean, all the themes are amazing, but that speaks to my heart.
It's really hard to pick a favorite theme. I agree with you. They all have their special qualities, but I am also a Victorian fan. I live in an old Victorian house in real life, and so when I look at the Victorian themes, they remind me of my real life home. So they are my favorite too. Abner, do you have a favorite?
Oh, it's like you're asking me to pick between
Pick your favorite
pick
child.
my favorite child. Yes. I would have to say it's a tie. It's a tie between the ranch, just because it reminds me of the areas where I grew up, and probably Sakura, which of all the themes we built, I think is probably the most beautiful. With all of the canals and the mountains and the vegetation around and even the houses themselves. I don't know. It's just something about it that appeals to me. So I would probably say it's a tie between those two.
You have twins.
Yeah, my favorite twins.
Alato, which is your favorite theme?
And I think it's really hard because we said in general because I think we put all our passion when we make this stuff, right? Like, but I think each one has such a different aspects from stuff that I always like that pick from each one different things. Like I like the organized chaos that is Victorian because even though it looks so full of vegetation, there's so much order in that, and that was complicated. But I like the newer ones. For example, Mediterranean is beautiful. Ranch is way more amazing than I ever thought it was going to look, to be honest. But then I go away always like into mashup things. So I would like to see something like, I don't know, Mediterranean farming houses. But yeah.
Bree, what is your favorite theme?
I grew up near a lake not far from Atlanta, and I grew up water skiing. And so I don't live so close to that or have the ability to do that anymore, but I love the stilts because they're out over water. And I have a boat that I actually keep at my stilt house. And so, yeah, I think the stilts are my favorite.
Nice. And dreaming, which one is your favorite?
It's very difficult. I was thinking here, I would say the Mediterranean because it brings me peace, which might sound weird, I know, but I think it's beautiful and it's easy to decorate. So, yeah, that's my pick.
So basically, the bottom line is you can't go wrong with any Linden home. That is the
Exactly.
general consensus here.
Exactly.
All right. Important question now for Patch. How can someone become a mole?
Oh, that's easy. There's a wiki page. I saw it get tossed out actually earlier. I'm sorry, I don't have it available at my fingertips, but the process is fairly simple. You email Derek with your CV or resume, cover letter, and perhaps a way to either preview or see or view a sampling of your work. And the your submission gets reviewed by Derek, myself, and we go forward from there.
All right, so all of you interested would-be moles out in the audience, you know what you need to do now. And you know that it does work because we have moles here who did exactly the same thing. Now, the most important question of the entire town hall, and this is from Vic Mornington. Lindens have bears, so why don't moles have moles? Anybody have a good answer for that?
That's a great question.
I think I have an answer to it.
What's the answer?
The answer is we did. I mean, 16 years. Yeah, when we started making quote unquote mole bears, we actually did make them to be like moles. But when we would give them to residents, they would call them mole bears. So we said, okay, everybody's calling them mole bears anyway, so we'll just make them bears. So that's the answer. It started out as moles. My original mole bear actually looks like a mole, but yeah, it just progressed from there.
They had some cosmetic surgery, a nose job.
Yeah, trim down the claws, yeah, that kind of a thing.
All right. Well, this has been wonderful. I've enjoyed having you all here to talk to my tribe, so to speak. So thank you all for coming. Before we end up tonight, I know Squeaky has done a great job collecting the questions all week, but he hasn't said anything. And I want him to say something. So I am encouraging him to take the microphone now because I believe he has something that he would like to say.
Well, thank you, Missy. Wasn't quite expecting that suddenly. So hopefully everyone can hear me. I think my main thing that I would want to say is, as the first week of the birthday comes to an end, I can't help but reflect on the incredible experiences we share here in Second Life. It's not just about the pixels on the screen, it's about the story behind them. The real human connections that make the community so vibrant and unique. The community really shines during the Second Life birthday. We can see it everywhere. Each one of you have contributed to the rich history of Second Life. You have built homes, created art, started businesses, and most importantly, you have forged friendships. You have shown that Second Life is a virtual world. You have shared laughter and tears, triumphs and trials, and you have built something truly special. My fellow moles, along with the dedicated resident volunteers during SLB, truly deserve a special mention. The birthday will not be a successful without you. So here's to you, to all of us, residents, moles, and Lindens, and to the memories we have made and the ones that are yet to come. Thank you for being part of this journey, for making Second Life a place where dreams can come true, for proving that even in challenging times, our community stands strong. Happy birthday, Second Life. Here's to many more years of shared stories, enduring friendships, and unforgettable adventures. You're all amazing. Thank you. And now, Patch, I think you have a special announcement.
Yeah, in fact, I do. Thank you, Squeaky. So actually, I've got two special announcements. We're getting close to the end here, so one of them is fun and probably a little unexpected. We are going to have a special event starting at 3 o'clock SLT, which will be the relaunch and reintroduction of the social casino. You can find yours truly along with Abner and a whole bunch of the rest of us hanging out there, partaking in a fun, lively, exchange, as it were, especially between Abner and myself. I believe we've got kind of a bit of a routine set up for y'all to have some fun with and come see. But yeah, come check it out. We've done a bunch of work on the gaming systems. We're introducing some new reward systems. There's video poker, leaderboards. You can get prizes by cashing in your chips. And you know what? You might even find yourself with even more chips than you expected when you come over. So come check it out if you've got a few minutes and hang out with us. It'll be a fun time, I think. If somebody wants to throw the landmark through the chat, that would be great too. The other announcement I have, I may have alluded to the other day, and this one has to do with lifetime premium. Who wants some lifetime premium? So I have, for our 21st birthday, 21 lifetime premium plus accounts that you can go sign up for now by going to support.secondlife.com and filing a ticket. If you have the 2023 SL20B version of regular lifetime, you can upgrade. And if you would like to subscribe to regular lifetime premium, you can do so as well. Now, a little bit of detail. So I mentioned there will be 21 lifetime premium plus accounts available at $18.99. There will be 21 upgrades from last year's SL20B version of lifetime premium available. For the upgrade fee, the difference in the cost of $11.50. And lifetime premium is $8.59 this year. And there will be 121 of those accounts available. So have at it. Go to support.secondlife.com. Select the ticket type account issue. Choose request second lifetime premium account from the second dropdown appears, and then select which membership type applies. Be careful with your choices because there are 3 choices. If you are an upgrade, make sure you choose the upgrade line. If you are not an upgrade and have no lifetime at all, you choose the second lifetime premium plus or the second lifetime premium line. And that's again, $18.99 for plus, $8.59 for regular, and the upgrade is $11.50. There's 21 each of the plus and the plus upgrades and 121 of the regular. Thank you, Kreda. We have a document. All right. That's all I had, Missy.
All right. Well, it looks like we are not out of time. We are simply transitioning to the Helios Casino and Lounge. So everybody, come and hang with us over there. The Slurl landmark has gone out, and once you are done filling out the paperwork for your premium or premium plus lifetime membership, please come over to the Helios Casino and Lounge and hang out with us, get a bear, get a mole, click our BBB tablets, and get a stamp. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thanks to everyone in the audience for being here with us today and all week. Don't forget to join us again on Monday, July 1st at 11:30 a.m. SLT, when we welcome Linden Lab Executive Chairman Oberwolf Linden and Senior Vice President of Product Operations and Marketing, Patch Linden, for our second Community Roundtable. We hope to see you there. Happy SL20B, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, Missy. Bye, everybody.
Thank you,
Bye.
Miss. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Bye bye.
Happy birthday.